Good morning, herd members of our Patreon page. So last night during the live Q&A, there was a question that came up about moon phase or full moon or bright night. So I wanted to do a follow-up video just for you guys and kind of explain a little bit more kind of what I was talking about, and also share a tool with you to help you, plan your hunt. So okay, let's just do this. Let's just jump into screen share. That way we can kind of talk about this as we go. So, all right. So guys, this is moongiant.com. And, typically when you come in, it'll come to today. But what we want to do is we want to go over here on the right and we want to click moon phase calendar. And then obviously it's going to come up with the current. So we're going to click. There's August. And so we're going to go to September. So, okay, usually the dates that I really look at are first and last. That's the information that I want to know what the moon is doing on those times. So, like I said, because as this gets bigger, it's brighter at night, the elk are a lot more active, but there's a few factors that we really need to look at. So let's just click on Friday the 6th and we'll just start there. So you can see that it's the first quarter. Now, when you scroll down, you can see that the moon is rising at noon. It will be at its peak at 6 p.m. and then it sets at midnight. So that means from midnight until it starts cracking daylight the next morning, you're going to have a dark night. So it's not like that whole entire night is bright and the elk aren't going to be really, really active for the whole entire night. So now what you can do from here to keep looking, so remember we wanted to go from first quarter to last quarter. So all you do is click this right arrow and it will take us, and it'll show you to the illumination, 64%. Now I normally look at 50% or higher. So, okay, so we have 64%. Again, we're going to come down. So it rises at 3 p.m. and sets at 3 a.m. Okay. Pretty good amount of night activity that night. Okay. September 8th, we're at 73%. Again, rising at 3 p.m., setting at 3 a.m. Not a full night of bright moon, which will affect the activity. So here we are, September 9th, we're at 81%. Rise at 3 p.m., sets at 3 a.m. 88%. Rise at 3 p.m., peak 9 p.m., sets 3 a.m. Now, trust me, those times do change. So, okay, September 11th, 94%. Still, we're in that moon going down at 3 a.m. time. So, okay, September 12th, 97%. We're getting closer to the full moon. Still dropping at 3 a.m. Okay, September 13th, pretty much 100%, 3 a.m. September 14th, which is the full moon. Okay, that one's rising at 6 p.m., setting at 6 a.m. That's going to be a bright night. There is going to be a lot of elk activity at night on the night of the 14th, which means the morning of the 15th, they're going to go to bed early, but then your midday activity on September 15th is going to be increased. Okay, so now 98% on the 15th, moon's starting to go down. Okay, now it's rising at 9 p.m. and setting at 9 a.m. Okay, September 16th, still setting at 9 a.m. September 17th, rising at 9 p.m., setting at 9 a.m. So you can see you have a string of a few days here where there's going to be quite a bit of night activity. Now remember too, there are factors. If weather comes in or a cloud cover, obviously if clouds move in, it's going to block the moon. It's going to go back to being a dark night, so that nighttime activity is going to decrease. All right, September 18th, we're down to 84% on the moon, rising at 9 p.m., setting at 9 a.m. The 19th, 9 a.m. again. 20th. So as you can see with this tool, you can go day by day. You can see the illumination, how big the moon is, how much light there's going to be, what time it's rising, what time it's setting. So, okay, we're down to 56% on the 21st. So we're kind of getting to that point now where it's really starting to be less, not as bright. Now see this one here, it's rising at midnight, setting at noon, with it at its peak at 6 a.m. And then on the 23rd, rising at 3 a.m., setting at 3 p.m. So you're not even going to see this moon at all at night. So this is a tool that I use. Like I said last night, so many people will immediately go, oh, it's a full moon night, it's not even worth hunting. I always want to dive deeper. And that's why I go to that moon giant, because it really does matter what time that moon is rising and what time it's setting, in regards to how much or how bright that night is going to be. So, because like I said, if it's coming up middle of the day and it's setting at midnight, so what? You still have a good chunk of the night that is dark. So, and that's going to, so here's how this relates to elk activity. So on bright nights, obviously they can see better, we can see better. And also too, those bright nights, those are the time that I'm going to get up early in the morning, like 3 o'clock, and go night bugling or morning bugling. I'm in the dark. But the reason I'm going to do it at this time is because then when I get a response, it is bright enough that I can throw my pack on and start picking my way through the forest and through the night because of that illumination from the moon and get closer to those elk. Because since it is bright and they are a lot more active, they are going to head to their bed earlier in the morning. So that's why I want to get that jump start, because you have a smaller window of activity right there in the morning at first light before they go lay down. But on the flip side, and this is where, somebody asked me once, okay, how do you catch up on your sleep if you're getting up early like that? Well, knowing that they're going to go to bed early, that's that time that I'm going to pull out the hammock and I'm going to take those naps on the mountainside. And then I'm going to have that midday activity. Okay, then time for an afternoon nap again before that evening rush. So now on those darker nights, that's going to be the time that I'm going to go out after dinner and night bugle. Now, the one thing that, I really haven't thrown out there is a lot of times, when I'm night bugling, and there's been a lot of questions of, okay, well, when you stop the rig, how long do you wait? So, we'll normally sit there, kind of let the dust settle, but we're going to sit there sometimes for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and just listen, because sometimes listening, you can hear them crack off and you don't even need to bugle yourself. Because night bugling, it's not that you're just running around tooting a bugle. You're out there to find bulls. You're out there to listen for bugles, because that's going to let you know where the elk are at that night, and then, where you want to go the next morning. Or if it's a bright moon night and I'm out early in the morning at 3 a.m., like I said, hear that bugle and then start working my way. So as soon as it does get light, I'm within striking distance. I only have to move a little bit to set up and start engaging and working that bull. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more information on full moon or bright moon nights and how to use more of these tools to even plan your hunts even more. Now, sometimes too on those full moon nights or bright moon nights, I already know where I want to go the next morning. Because we have, patterns, we've been, getting into elk. So say we're going to go to, drainage B. We'll start early in the morning. So, we'll start an hour or sometimes hour and a half before it starts cracking daylight to start utilizing that bright. We know where the elk are feeding. We know where, they're going to head to bed. And so basically we're getting an earlier start so that we can get higher on the mountain. We can get in that travel corridor and be waiting for them and cut them off. Now, obviously, when you're going to do that, you need to really, really be aware of your thermals. This is where really understanding your area really comes as an advantage. So, all right, guys, so there's a little bit more about full moon, about what time it rises, what time it sets, and how those can affect those nighttime activities. Hopefully that helps. As always, guys, keep calling, keep practicing. Most importantly, have fun, and we'll see you guys on the next instructional video.